Hey everyone, welcome back to the React.js course. So in this video, we'll be building an e-commerce website instead of React.js. And if you find this interesting, let's get started right away. So in this video, we'll be building a complete e-commerce web application using React. Okay, so this is going to be a lot of fun and a lot of learning as well. So we'll be designing different kinds of components, different screens, and we'll be designing different kinds of styles as well inside our web application. So if you find this interesting, let's get started right away. So the first step is to create a React project. So let's go do that. Okay. So currently inside my terminal, let me head over to my build folder over here. Okay, so currently I'm in my build folder. So let me firstly initialize our React app for our e-commerce website. Okay, so we're going to say npx create React app. Okay, so create React app, and we're going to provide the app name. So in my case, let me provide e-commerce app like this. Okay, and hit enter. Okay, so this should pretty much create all the dependencies required for starting up our project. Okay, so this is going to take some time, so let's wait for it to install. So after this gets installed, we'll be moving to that particular folder directory, and then we'll be starting off our application from scratch. Okay, so let's wait for it to install. So I guess it's going to take at least a minute or two. So yeah, so we'll be designing the application right from the start, that is from the header part, and then we have all the products coming up, and we will be implementing this using the Redux toolkit, that is the cart system that we have. Okay, so yeah, and we'll be using the material UI for the icons that we are using in this web application. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of learning for inside this project, right? So yeah, I think it's almost installed, so let's wait for some more time. Yeah, so there you go, we can see the message which says happy hacking. So if you get this message, then we are good to go. That means our project, our project folder has been initialized inside our build folder. So let me go to our project directory. Let me just open up it manually over here. So let's go to basically build folder, and then the first one, that is e-commerce app. Okay, so this is the entire project structure that React has given us when we initialize our uh, a React project. Okay, using npx. So basically we have the node modules folder, and we have the public folder where we have the icon, we have the index.html file, and basically we have the React logos. Okay, so that's it about the public folder. Whereas inside, so the main thing, everything is there inside our source folder. Okay, where we have the app.js. So pretty much inside our app.js we have basically a header that is being returned, and inside the header we have the React logo, and we have a p tag which says the edit, all that stuff, and we have a tag over here which says learn React. Okay, so that's it about the app.js. So the main thing we'll be working on over here is inside our app.js. Okay, so similarly we have our app.css file, corresponding styles to this has been given, and we have our index.js file, and where we are rendering basically the app. Okay, and then we have our index.css file. Okay, so there are other files which are not useful currently, that is app.test.js, and then basically logo.svg, and then report web vitals.js, and setup tests.js. So these files are not useful currently. Okay, so we'll be looking into the app.js firstly. So let us fire up our application. Okay, so let's open up a new terminal over here, and we're gonna say yarn start. Okay, we are currently inside our e-commerce app, and we're gonna say yarn start over here. So let's press on enter. So this should open up the app on localhost 3000, right? Okay, something's already running on port 3000. Okay, let's use another port instead. So in my case, it's going to be 3001, because I think the old app that I built currently is on 3000, right? Yeah, so there you go. Our app has been opened up. So basically this is the starting point of our application. As you can see, we can see the React logo and a p tag, and basically a tag which says learn React. So this will take you to the official React docs. Okay, there you go. We can see that link coming up towards the left side. So let's start building up our application. So in your case, it should be localhost 3000 if there are no apps currently in use, right? So if you just check out localhost 3000, you can actually see the current app. Okay. So what happens here is, so the next thing is basically to start designing this part. Okay. So what I do is, firstly, let me remove the header part completely. Let us save the file. Okay, so let's remove the logo. That's not required for us. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, we have a complete blank web page. So we'll be starting off from scratch. So now we are gonna say a h1 tag just to check if everything is working correctly. So we're gonna say we are gonna build a e-commerce web app. Okay, so let's save the file. So let's check out our web page, how exactly it's looking now. Okay, yeah, so there you go. We are seeing a huge h1 tag which says we are going to build a e-commerce web app. Okay, so currently it is in the center part of the web page. So currently, as you know, it should start from the top left part over here. Okay, so for that reason, let's come back into our app.css. So the web page is showing this weird behavior, that is, it is showing at the center part because of the default styling that it has been given. That is when we initialized uh, our React app. Okay, so for that reason, let's come back to our app.css. Let's remove everything, save the file. So now let's come back to web page and check it out. So there you go, it's coming towards the left, but still we have some spacing at the top that is not required. We need to start at the most top left part. Okay, without giving any space. So for that reason, let's come back to our index.css. Let's pretty much remove everything. Okay, let's target everything, that is by making use of star, and we're gonna give a margin of 0. Okay, and let's also give the font family. Let's choose this one for now, or let's choose the third one, the fourth one, this one. So save the file. Yes, so there you go. We are seeing the text coming from the top left part, and we are in the correct direction now. Okay, it should start from the top left part and we are good to go. So now let's start designing our web page. Okay, so the first part we'll be looking into is the header part. Okay, so let's let's start designing the header part. Okay, so firstly what I do is, inside my source folder, let me create certain folders that are required. So over here we're going to say data folder if we require in case, and after that app.css, new folder, one folder we need for our components. Okay, so the other folder is of course for the screens that we're going to have. So we're going to say screens, and yeah, that's it. So now what we do is we are basically going to come to our components folder over here, and we're going to create our first component, that is our header component. So we're going to say header.js like this. Okay, and we're going to say rfce to get the shorthand snippet. Okay, so save the file. So to get the shorthand snippets, you need to have installed ES7 inside your systems. So if you go over here to basically extensions, you can check that out. That is over here. Yeah, this one, that is ES7 React, Redux, React Native snippets. Okay, so if you install this, you will get all the shorthand code snippets that we so that we can write the code real soon, right? And you can check out other dependencies as well in case if you are interested. Okay, yeah, so now let's go back to our file tree over here, and let's start designing the header part. Okay, so firstly let's import our let's create our header.css file as well. So it's gonna be header.css like this. Okay, so let's import our header.css file into our header.js file. So we're going to say import header.css like this. Okay, so let's give the class name over here. So it's going to be class name of header. Okay, so inside our header we have basically, of course, we have towards the left the logo. So let's write over here. So let's also write some information regarding each steps. Okay, so it's going to be the image logo over here. Okay, so just let me get the code for the image right now. Okay guys, I've just pasted the code for the image. Okay, so let us just format once, and let us save the file. Okay, so let us, okay, because nothing is happening because we have not imported our header inside our app.js, right? So firstly, let's remove this h1 tag that is not required currently. Okay, so we're going to import our header as such from our components folder like this and save the file. Okay, yeah, so there you go, we are able to see the Amazon logo. Fine, so now what we do is we are gonna make use of the styling part. So let's access our header. Okay, let me give this a background color. So that's gonna be basically 232 f 3e. Okay, so this is the color for our header background. So basically we have two kinds of header. So this is for the first header. So the second header we'll look into it in a couple of minutes. Okay, yeah, so there you go, you can see the Amazon logo coming up clearly. Okay, so now let's give it some padding of, let's say, 10 pixels to give it some internal spacing. Okay, like this. And after this we have is, of course, we are going to have the search bar over here. So let's design the search bar now. So let's come back to our header.js. Over here, let's write out our comment. Okay, we are going to say search bar like this. Okay, so we're going to initialize a div for this. So over here, the first thing is the input field that we have. Okay, so the type is gonna be of search, I mean not search, it's gonna be of text. You're gonna give a placeholder which says search items or products like this. Okay, so the next thing, of course, we need to get the search bar icon. So we'll be using, as I told, material icons for the icons that we use in our web app. So firstly, let's install material icons into our system, right? So over here we're gonna say material icons, material UI. Okay, go over here, first link, let's press on get started over here, and let's press on installation over here, and let's install the default one, that is by making use of yarn. Okay, and let's open up our terminal, new terminal, and paste over here. Let's press enter. So let's go over here, we need to also install material icons. Okay, so let's press on material icons over here, and let us go to the installation page again, and you can find something called as the icons, this one. So pretty much let's install this using yarn. Okay, so let's come back to our terminal. So I think this is going to take some time. Okay, so let's wait for that to happen. So basically we'll be making use of the search icon. Okay, so yeah, so let's wait for this to install, or let's open up a new terminal and let's install this part, that is material icons. Okay, let's see if this has been installed. No, it's still installing. This one also still installing. So now let's install, I mean let's get the icon. So let's go over here and let us pretty much search for the search icon that we have. So we're going to say search. Okay, so let's go into outlined and we're going to say search outline. Okay, so let's pretty much press on this so that it gets copied to the clipboard, and then let's come back. Okay, so it's still installing. I think the first one also still installing. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. Yeah, I think this has been installed, the first one has been installed. So let's import basically our copied value. Okay, I think even this has been installed. Yeah, so now what we do is after the input we are going to pretty much copy the value that we just copied. Okay, so that is the search icon, so it's going to be search outlined icon. So save the file and let's come back to our web page. Okay, can't resolve material utils and users, right? So let's do one thing. I think both of them have been installed, but it's still giving us an error, right? Let's cut the server once and then start it off again. Let's press on yes. So this should open up again. Okay, I think we have that error again, right? So can't resolve. So hopefully let's try it with a default icon, basically the filled one. If there is, let's just search for search. Okay, pretty much copy this value. Okay, and let's import search icon over here instead of search outlined icon. Let's save the file. Okay, I think we have the same error that's going on, so can't resolve. So let's just add this inside our system. So open up a new terminal. We're gonna say yarn add this. Okay, so hopefully after installing this we should be seeing the icons, right? Okay, still there is error, I guess. Okay, so let's just check out in Chrome what exactly is the error, right? Yeah, actually we did this right. Let's do it again and let's check it out. So open up new terminal. So let's firstly check out our package.json over here, where we have, okay, there is no utils folder, I guess. So let's add that out. And basically after installing, hopefully it should work, right? So let's give it some time to install. And yeah, so basically let's just keep searching for the solution over here. Yeah, even this thing we have done. Let's install this also after this. Let's come back over here. Yes, I think it has been installed. Okay, so let us just cut the server, start it off again. Let's press on yes. Yes, I think now it has been compiled, hopefully. Yes, so we can see the search icon coming. That's really good. So now what we do is we're gonna go into our header.css file and we're gonna say display of flex. Okay, and align items of center. Okay, yeah, so now what we do is we are gonna style the icon basically. So over here, okay, before that let's write our remaining part. So this is gonna have let's say a h4 tag. Okay, so this is gonna be hello, the name of the person, let's say John for now, and it's gonna have again a h4 tag. So this is gonna say accounts and lists. Okay, so we're gonna have accounts and lists over here. So let's pretty much copy this one more time. So this is gonna have basically orders, or we're gonna say returns and orders, right? Returns returns and orders. Okay, like this. And let's have one more div tag. Okay, so this is basically for the icon that we're gonna use. Okay, so firstly let's get our cart icon. Okay, so over here let's search for cart. Okay, let's use this shopping cart icon. Let's copy that and let's paste over here. Okay, so over here the first thing we're gonna have is basically the cart icon. So we're gonna say shopping cart icon. Okay, so after that we have a span tag. So currently we're gonna give it as 0 for this. Okay, so let's save everything. Yeah, so you can see the icon coming up. So now what we do is we're gonna style this out. Okay, we're gonna give over here a style. We're gonna give a position of absolute. Okay, and we're gonna give a left of, let's say, 14, right of 14. Okay, so it's also gonna give it's also gonna have a background color of white. Okay, and we're gonna give a width, specific width. So we're gonna say a width of, let's say, 14 and a height of 14. Okay, and we're gonna give basically a border radius of 7 to make it look exactly circular. So border radius of 7 like this. And yeah, we're also gonna give a text line of center. Okay, so for the shopping cart icon, we're gonna give a color of white to it. So we're gonna say color like this, and we're gonna say white. Okay, save the file once. Yeah, so you can see, but it's not coming because I think we need to make the parent relative over here. So we're gonna say style. Okay, we're just gonna make it a position of relative. Okay, yeah, so there you go, we are able to see that coming correctly. Okay, so now what we do is we are gonna make the font size of the icon a bit small, right? Not the icon, basically the text. We're gonna say font size of 12. Okay, and a font weight of basically, let's give 400. That's good. Let's come back to our page. Yeah, so you can see that coming correctly. Okay, so now what we do is we're gonna style up the text that are currently white. Okay, I mean they are currently black. We're gonna make it in white, and also the font size and font weight for each of the texts that are present. Okay, and I think we have one more attribute that's gonna have the place and also the basically the number part. Okay, that's gonna come after this div. So let's write that out. So basically this is gonna be the place and number. Okay, so let's give some random place. Okay, and for the number let's give some value. Okay, over here let's give a number like this. Save the file. So now let's give the class name basically. So over here this is gonna have a class name of header input. Okay, so class name over here as well. So this is gonna be header input. So let's give this header input container. Okay, like this, and this is just gonna be header input. Okay, so save the file. So the next thing we do is we're gonna target basically our header input container. Let's go into a header.css. Okay, we're gonna give basically a flex grow of 1. Okay, and after that let's target our header input. Okay, and firstly we're going to give display flex to this as such, because we have two things, that is the search icon as well as the input field. So we need to make it looks in a flex direction of row, right? So over here for the header input we're going to give outline of none first. Okay, a bit of padding, that is 7, and a bit of margin left. Okay, that is a 10, padding of 7 pixels. Okay, margin left of this thing, and a flex of 1, so that it takes up most of the space. Okay, so let's come back to our web page. So there you go, it has taken up most of the space because we have given flex grow and a flex of 1 to the input container. Okay, so now for this search bar that is present, let's give it some correct styling. Okay, so let's come back over here. So basically to this let's give some inline styling itself. Search icon, let's give it a color of white. Okay, and we're going to give a margin left of 4 and some margin top of 2. Okay, let's save the file. Yeah, so there you go, that's coming correctly. So now next let's target basically our tags, that is basically the h4 tag. So we're going to say class name of header text. So let's give same piece of styling for all the header parts. Okay, over here same thing goes over here. Okay, so for the header text let's target that inside our header.css like this. Come on, let's copy the header text. Okay, So target that over here. We're gonna give a font size of 13 pixels and we're gonna give a color of white. Okay, and let's also give a font weight of, let's say, 500 for now, and let's see how exactly it's looking. Okay, all right, so let's give a gap basically. So so currently if you check out over here the header part, everything is almost stuffed into one another. So we're going to give some gap. Okay, so to give the gap, we're going to give to the header outer container, let's give a gap of, let's say, 15 pixels, and let's save the file. Yeah, so there you go. Now each of them are spaced out and you can see them looking nice and clean, right? So now for the other part, that is finally over here, let's give the class name. It's going to be header text itself, so let's pretty much copy that. Okay, so the same thing is going to go over here. So class name is going to be header text. Okay, so let's save the file and let's come over here. Yeah, so basically you can see working correctly. So you can see all the styles being applied to the input icon, I mean the search bar, all these kinds of h4 tags and the search bar also. So I think the header is looking really nice and clean. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part, that is to style the next part of the header. Okay, so for that, let's make use of the fragment because we'll be making the design just below this div container. Okay, so over here, let us just copy that over here. Okay, yeah, so now this is gonna be the bottom part of the div, so we're gonna say bottom header part. Okay, so over here we're gonna make use of the div. All right, so we're gonna give a class name of header bottom to this. Let's say header bottom as such, like this. So let me just firstly give the background color to the header bottom and some styles. So let's pretty much copy the styling over here, I mean the class name, and pretty much let's paste header bottom over here. And firstly, let's give a background color that we have is it's gonna be 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, a bit of internal spacing, that is padding of 5 pixels, and let's save the file. Okay, so if you check out over here, you can see that border coming. So it's very light and the height is super low. So let's give it some height also. So height is gonna be 35 pixels, hopefully. I think that's gonna look good. Nope, 35 is it's too big. Let's give it 30. Okay, yeah, I think 30 is looking better. So now what we are going to do is, firstly inside our header bottom we'll be having our menu icon. So let's first go get our menu icon. Okay, over here inside our material UI, let's search for menu over here, and let's copy the first one, and let's pretty much copy into our clipboard, come back into our header file over here, and we're going to paste it right over here so that we import it, and we are going to paste it as the first part inside our bottom header part, that is the menu icon. Okay, so let's go over here and say menu icon like this. Okay, is there any error? Nope, there isn't. So let's save the file. Let's format once. So save the file. Let's come back to our web page. Yeah, so you can see the menu icon coming. So the menu icon should be, of course, in white color. So let's give some inline styling to this. So we're gonna say color of white as such, like this. Save the file. So yeah, after this we have a bunch of p tags that we'll be writing. So let's write that out. So we're gonna have by, we're gonna say healthy products. Okay, so we're gonna say sell, we're gonna say baby, we're gonna say basically health and lifestyle. Okay, so these are some of the p tags that we're introducing inside our bottom header part. Let's write prime video like this, and we have super sale. Okay, and let's Come on, let's write in another p tag which is gonna say exciting offers. Okay, I think that's it. So let's pretty much save the file. Yeah, so you can see all of them coming over here. So all of them should be in a flex direction of row. So let's design that part. Okay, so firstly let's go into our header bottom part. Yeah, that is the overall container, and we are gonna say over here a display of flex, and we're gonna give a gap between all the p tags and the icon that is present, that is a gap of 20 pixels, and save the file. Okay, yeah, so you can see all of them coming, okay, nice and clean inside our second container. So now let's pretty much give the class name to this. Okay, let's pretty much select all of them over here like this. Okay, so we're gonna give basically a class name of header bottom text, okay, like this, and copy this header bottom text. Let's come back to our CSS file over here, and firstly we are gonna make use of the font size. I don't think font size is required. The color part, the color is gonna be white. Okay, so let's save the file. Yeah, I think that's looking good. So let's give some padding top to the text. So we're gonna say a padding top of, let's say, 7 pixels for now. Okay, I don't, yeah, 7 is, I think it's almost coming to the bottom part. Let's give 6. Okay, yeah, 6 is looking pretty better. So now let's give the same piece of styling for the icon, that is basically padding top. It is currently at the top part. So over here let's give a padding top of 6. Okay, save the file, and yeah, so currently it is in the correct direction. So let's add one or two more p tags to just fill that part. Okay, we're gonna say offers, and over here we're gonna say subscribe, something like that. Okay, and save the file once. So let's come back to our web page. Yeah, so you can see all the p tags coming up in a nice way. So the next thing we do is we are gonna render our products basically. Okay, so we'll be making use of an API to do that. That is basically the fake store API, which gives us random products. Okay, so let's go over to fake store API over here, and let us pretty much get the products. Okay, so if you come over to fakestoreapi.com, let's press on read docs. Okay, so they'll be giving basically description on how to use it. So we have fetch get all products and get a single products, or limit results. Okay, or even sort results and get all categories. So you can pretty much go through this page and get whatever the products we want, right? So we'll be going through the first one, that is this one. So let's pretty much copy that out. And so the next part we are introducing is the body part, right? So pretty much let's create our new component over here. That's gonna be body.js like this, and let's press RFC to get the shorthand snippet. Okay, save the file, and let's create our corresponding body.css file for this. Okay, it's gonna be body.css as such, and now let's import our body.css file into our body.js. Okay, save the file, and what we now do is firstly we're gonna get the products, right? So firstly let's initialize our state. So we're gonna say const products comma set products equals to use state. Let's import it from React like this, and initially we're gonna provide an empty array to use state. Okay, like this, and let us save the file. And pretty much let's import our body inside our app.js. Okay, so here is the header part, and after this we have is basically the body. Okay, so it's gonna be body. Let's import body from the components folder like this, and let's save the file. So if you check out our web page, you should be seeing this body coming out after the header part. Okay, yeah, so the ego body is coming over here. So the next thing we do is we're gonna make use of a listener, that is basically the use effect. Okay, so we'll be saying use effect, and let's import it from React like this. Okay, and we're gonna make use of a dependency array. Okay, I mean just a empty dependency array. So the way the use effect works is, so every time the body component loads, this use effect is triggered off. Okay, and whatever code we write inside a use effect is gonna run. Okay, so if there is a empty dependency array, this use effect is gonna run only once, that is when the body component loads, right? So if there is no dependency array, let's say we have only a empty dependency array, and we are running this use effect, so this use effect is going to run every once the body component loads, and it is going to run every once again there is if there is any state update inside our body component. Okay, so and if there is, let's say, any dependency that is present inside our use effect, so this use effect is going to run every once the body component loads, and every once again this dependency changes. So in case if we have something called as item inside our body component, and if that part changes, then this use effect is triggered off again, and it is going to run whatever so based on whatever the code is given over here. Okay, so in our case we're just gonna fetch the item just once. Okay, so I'm providing a empty dependency array, and we're pretty much gonna paste the code whatever we have got over here. Okay, so before that, what we're gonna do is, let's initialize a function that, let's say, const fetch products. So since this is a time consuming process because of the network part and all, because of the, let's say, we might not have network for some time, so for that reason we're going to make this function async function, because it's going to take some time. So we're going to say async, and we're going to say, just pretty much paste that out. So since we're using async, we should be using the await keyword like this. And yeah, so over here let's make this data instead of JSON. Okay, so firstly we'll be making use of console.log of data. Okay, so let's pretty much format over here. Let's save the file. So let's check out our data if we are getting anything inside a console. Okay, so let's inspect over here. Okay, so pretty much let's come back to our console. Okay, we are not able to see anything. Why is that happening? Okay, so let's see exactly what is happening inside a use effect. Okay, we are initializing a function. Oh, okay, we are not calling the function, so that's the reason it's not working. So fetch products, let's call the function over here, and hopefully now we should see the products coming up. Okay, so let us inspect once more. Yeah, so there you go, we are getting our products, that is an array of 20 products we are getting. So we have pretty much an array of objects, that is 20 products they are giving us. So inside each of the products we have the category, and then we have the description for each product, and then we have the ID that is required, and then we have the image. Basically we have the pricing part, we have the rating, and then we have the title and description as well. Okay, so based on this data, we'll be designing our web page. Okay, that is the body part. So let's get into this. Okay, so firstly so instead of console.logging the data, we're going to say set products, and we're going to say of data. So everything is stored inside of products now, so we can make use of this products, and then we can render this basically. Okay, so what we're going to do is, we're going to say class name first. So this is going to be body. Okay, so then after this we have is basically another div. So this is going to be class name. I'm going to say body items. Okay, so basically we'll be making use of the map function. So products.map. So for every item that is present inside our products data, that is inside our state, we're going to return, let's say, a new component for each and every product, right? So pretty much let's create our new component over here. So let's press on the components folder, new file, product item.js. So product item.js like this. So RFCE to get the shorthand snippet. Okay, and let's also create our corresponding CSS file. So over here it's gonna be product item.css as such. Okay, so pretty much let's import our product item our product CSS file into our product item. So we're gonna say import let's write that correctly. It's gonna be product item dot css. Okay, so save the file over here as well, and over here let's pretty much import our product item from our product item file. Okay, so yeah, so let us pretty much save the file once. Okay, so if you come back to a web page, you can see all the product items being rendered over here. Okay, so we are seeing pretty much 20 items over here. So what is gonna what is happening over here is, so we are mapping through the products that they've given. So essentially we have 20 products. Okay, so we are mapping through the products, and for each item that is present inside our products array, we are returning a new product item. Okay, so inside our product item component, since we have just a product item inside our div tag, so that's the reason we are returning 20 products over here. So let's say I just remove the item and then just let's say product, so you should be seeing just product coming 20 times. So there you go. So that's how this is getting this is coming on the screen. Okay, so now what we do is we're gonna give basically the class name to this. Okay, so let's write this over here. So over here we're gonna say class name of product item as such. Save the file. So to the body, let's pass in some data. Of course, the item itself. So item is gonna be item, and over here let's provide the key. It's gonna be index or even item dot id. Okay, so now let's save the file once, and inside our product item, let's receive the data as props. Let's destructure the value and receive the items basically, and let's save the file. Okay, so now we'll be styling our product item. Okay, so the first thing we have is basically, of course, let's design the image, or before that let's give the basic styling to the body.css. Okay, so let's target the body like this. Okay, so we're gonna give a background color to this, so it's gonna be f0 f0 f0. It's gonna be a light grayish color, and we're gonna give a height of max content. Okay, and for the next thing we look into is basically the body items. So we'll be styling this part. So firstly we'll be making it into a row. Okay, so it's going to be display of flex, and we're going to say flex wrap of wrap and align items of stretch. Save the file. So what exactly flex wrap does is, so it's okay, let's remove align item stretch, or let's say overflow scroll. No, I don't think that's gonna come over here. Let's remove that. Yeah, so currently we have all the products coming over here. Okay, so because it's in a flex section of row. So now the next part we are looking into is basically the product item part. Okay, so let's start designing that. Okay, so first let's provide an image and let's see if the flex wrap is working correctly. Okay, so let's come back to our product item, and the first thing is, as I told, image. So let's initialize our image, and let's give the src to this. So if you check out the console, it was item.image. So let's check that out. Okay, these are huge. So firstly let's give some inline styling to the image. So over here we're gonna say style. Okay, let's give a width of 200 and a height of 200. Save the file. Yeah, so currently as you can see, flex wrap is working correctly, because as soon as the space is over here, it is going to come to the next line and take up the remaining space. Okay, so currently we are in the correct direction, and it's working correctly. Okay, so now what we do is we're going to make use of a background color to the product item that is present. Okay, so let's go back to our product item.css, and we're going to say dot product item like this. I hope the spelling is right. Let's just check it again and paste this one. Okay, I think it was not right, so paste this one. So we're going to give a background color of white to this. Okay, so that we can differentiate the product with the background color of the screen, that is light gray. Okay, so save the file. Okay, currently we can't see anything, so let's give some margin to this. So margin is going to be of 10 pixels. So basically the external spacing, padding of 10 pixels, that is internal spacing, and we're going to give a width of 400 to the entire container, that is a product item. Okay, save the file. Yeah, so there you go, we are able to see everything coming correctly, and we are able to see all the 20 products in the correct direction, and they are aligned correctly as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is basically now let's start designing the remaining items. So after the image we have is basically the name of the tag. So we're going to say p tag, and to access the name it's going to be item dot name. So we'll be just initializing the name up to 30 characters. So we're going to check if item dot length, okay, if it is greater than 30, come on, if it's greater than 30, then in that case we're just going to make the substring. So item dot length, I mean item dot name dot substring like this, and we're gonna say basically 0 comma 30. Else if it is less than 30, we're just gonna show the item dot name like this. So save the file. Let's come back to our web page. Okay, there is some error. Let's check that out. Okay, let's pretty much open up our console. Can't, okay, it can't read the properties of length, right? So let's see why that is giving the error. If the item dot name dot length, I think that's the way we do that, right? Item dot name dot length, I mean that's the correct spelling of it, right? Nope. So let's remove this, or let's pretty much comment this out, and let's check if that only is the error. Yes, that's the error, but I think that should work, right? Item dot name dot length is greater than 30. Then we are making use of the substring method and taking out the first 30 characters. Else we just gonna show item dot name. Okay, so let's just show the item dot name, and then let's see how it's looking. Item dot name. Okay, so I don't know why I opened that. So let's save the file. Okay, I don't think there is item dot name. Okay, I think my bad. I think it should be item dot title. Okay, yeah, now it's gonna work. Let's remove this and let's uncomment this. My mistake, it has to be title. Okay, so let's change over here as well, title and title. Okay. Okay, so let's come back over here. Yeah, so now we should be seeing the correct title coming up. Okay, so that's looking good. So now what we do is, so the image is currently towards the left part, so let's make it to the center part so that it looks nice and clean. So let's come back over here. So basically for the product item, let's come back to over here. So we're going to make it in a display flex, and the flex direction is going to be of column. Okay, and after this we have is basically, let's target our image over here. We're going to say a margin left of auto and a margin right of auto as well. Okay, so let's save the file. Yeah, so currently as you can see, the image is coming in the correct direction, that is at the center part. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to give again a gap for this as well. So product item, we're going to say a gap of 12 pixels. Okay, yeah, I think that's looking better. It is spaced out between the images as well as the tag. Okay, so now what we do is we are gonna take out the next part, that is the description part. Okay, so for the p tag, let's again initialize our p tag. So let's write in some information that is required. So this is gonna be the image, and after that we have is the name, the title of the product. Okay, after that we are gonna have is the description of the product. Description of the product, I don't think the spelling, I don't, okay, never mind. Product and over here we're gonna say pretty much item dot description. Save the file. Okay, again we can see some huge descriptions coming. So again we'll be making use of the substring method. So we'll be taking out, let's say, 60 characters. So if the item dot description dot length is greater than 60, okay, so in this case we're just going to say item dot description dot substring. We'll be taking out for 60 characters, and else if the description is itself less than 60, then in that case we're going to say item dot description. That's it. Save the file. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, the description part is working correctly, and we can see it coming in, of course, 2 lines. I don't think that's a problem. Yeah, it's looking good. So the next thing we look into is basically the next part, of course, is the button that we have. So we're gonna say the add to cart button. Okay, fine. So now we have is basically, let's introduce a button tag. Okay, so this is gonna say add to cart. Okay, save the file. So let's give the class name to this, not style, class name. So this is gonna be product item button. Okay, so let's pretty much copy this out, product item button, and let's come to our CSS file over here, and let's give the background color to this. So firstly, let me check out the background color. Okay, so okay, I'm not finding that. Let's firstly come over to Chrome and then let's check it out. Okay, so we'll be checking out yellow shade CSS, the first one, and let's use this one, or yeah, let's use this one. Okay, and let's pretty much copy the code, paste it over here. Okay, so let's provide some internal spacing, that is padding of 5 pixels or 10 pixels. Okay, we're gonna give an outline of none, and we are also gonna give a border of none like this, and save the file. Okay, let's come back to our page. Yeah, so you can see the add to cart button coming nice and clean. So now for the text, let's give it I think it's looking good in the black color itself. Okay, so let's target the text. So we're going to say font size of 14 pixels, and we're going to say font weight of 500. Okay, yeah, that is looking good. So now let us give some border radius to the button. So we're going to say border radius of 5 pixels. Okay, okay, that's looking good. So now let's initialize our next button as well, that is the buy now button. So over here, let's pretty much create a new button. This is gonna be the buy now button. Okay, so again, let's initialize our button tag. It's gonna be buy now. Okay, so the class name is pretty much gonna be the same thing as the previous one. So class name is gonna be product item button. I hope they are not stuffed onto each other. Yeah, I think that's looking better. Okay, so let's provide another color to the buy now button. Okay, so over here, let's take this one for now, just to differentiate between both the buttons. So let's say product item buy. Okay, let's target it differently. Pretty much copy this out, and over here paste this and paste all of this except the color. So the background color is gonna be, let's again copy the code. Okay, McDonald's yellow, and paste it over here. Okay, so now let's look at the web page, how exactly it's looking. Okay, I don't think I can't see any difference, but I think there is a subtle difference. So let's make use of this, the gold color, and let's paste it over here. Okay, let's come back to our web page. Yeah, so now it's looking really good. Okay, so we have rendered our products and everything is in correct state. Okay, so now the next thing is let's introduce Redux. Okay, and let's write all of our actions inside our Redux. So we'll be making use of the Redux toolkit. So firstly, let's install Redux into our app. Okay, so open up a new terminal over here, and we are gonna say yarn add react redux as such. Okay, so now we also need access to the Redux toolkit, so let's access that. So we're going to say Redux toolkit. So let's press on get started over here, and basically we'll be making use of yarn to install. So let's press on over here, let's come back over here. So I think this is still getting installed, so let's wait for that. And after this gets installed, we'll be installing our Redux toolkit, and we'll be writing all of our actions and reducers that are required. Okay, so I think it's super slow in installing this, so never mind, let's open up a new terminal and then let's paste this out. Okay, and let's remove that hashtag part, this one, and let's press on enter. Okay, so let both of them are just getting installed. So now what we do is we're going to create a new folder that is basically for the Redux part. Okay, we're going to say over here new folder Redux, and inside our, okay, it's too slow, my system is super slow, it's not even creating the folder right. Yeah, it has created the Redux folder, and inside a Redux folder we'll be creating our first slice, that is our cart slice.js. okay, so over here we'll be writing all of our code, right, for all the actions and reducers that are present. I think both of them have been installed. Okay, let's check out in our package.json we have Redux toolkit and React Redux. I don't think React Redux is installed, right? I think we have error over here. Just let me check if this is the correct one. Yeah, I think React Redux has not been installed. Okay, so let's install it using npm. So npm I React Redux. I hope the spelling is right, and let's press on enter. Okay, so yeah, hopefully this time it should install it. So let's wait for it to install. Yeah, so we can see React Redux coming. I think it has been installed. So now let's move on to our cart slice and create our actions and the reducers part. Okay, so we're going to say import. First thing is we're going to say create slice, and we're going to import it from the Redux toolkit. Okay, so after that we're going to initialize our cart slice. So export default cart slice equals to, we're going to say create slice. Okay, this is going to take in an object basically, and the first thing we're going to write over here is the name. Okay, so since we are building a cart system for our e-commerce app, we're going to say the name is going to be cart. Okay, so after the name we're going to provide is the initial state. Okay, so initial state is basically since we are building a cart system, as I already told, so essentially we'll be having an array of items inside our cart, that is whatever the products the user has added into the cart. So at the initial state, of course, our cart is going to be empty. So what we'll be doing is we'll be writing cart, and we'll be providing an empty array initially, okay, for the initial state, right? So after that we have is basically our reducers that are going to come up. So this is going to be an object, so we'll be writing all of our reducers over here. So we'll be implementing 4 reducers basically, that is add to cart, remove from cart, and then increment quantity as well as the decrement quantity part. Okay, so inside our reducers part, let's write our first reducer, that is add to cart. Okay, so this is going to take in our state and action, and we'll be defining this over here. Come on. Okay, so this is going to be our first reducer. So let's exactly think how we can write our add to cart. Okay, so over here inside our web page we have our add to cart button. Okay, so let's say the user presses on the add to cart button for the first time. Okay, so if the user presses for the first time the add to cart button, then in that case we should pretty much add all of the details, that is the image, the name, the price. Okay, one thing I forgot to just write the price tag. Now I'm remembering it, so let's write that out. So let's come back to our body. My bad, let's come back to the product items. So just after the description we'll be making use of the price. Okay, so that's going to be item dot price. Okay, save the file. Yeah, so you can see the price coming up. So yeah, in case the user presses on the add to cart button for the first time, then in that case we'll be adding all of these details. Okay, basically into our cart. Okay, so if in case this item has already been added and if the user presses on the add to cart button, then in that case we'll be just increasing the quantity of that particular item by one. Okay, I think that sounds really nice to implement, so let's do that first. So as I told, the first thing is to check the condition that if the item is already present inside our cart. Okay, so we're going to say const item present equals to, we're going to access the state dot cart. We're going to say we will be making use of the find method. Basically we're going to check if the item dot id is equals to the action dot payload dot id. Okay, so if this condition becomes true, then that means this a particular item is present inside of our cart. Okay, so if that is true, then if the user presses on the button, then we are just going to increase the quantity by one. So we're going to say if item is present, what we're going to do is we're going to say item present dot quantity plus plus, like this. Okay, else if that's not the case, that means this condition has become false and the user has pressed on the button for the first time, the add to cart button. So in that case we're just going to push the payload. So we're going to say state dot cart dot push. Okay, whatever is there inside of our action dot payload, that is basically all the details that we give, that is the image, the price, the description, and all the other details. Okay, and after this we are going to initialize the new quantity, that's it's going to be of 1. Okay, so in case if it comes to else condition, we're going to push in the payload and we're going to initialize the quantity of 1. Okay, so save the file. So that's it about our add to cart action. Okay, so the next one is remove from cart. So remove from cart. Okay, so this is going to take in again our state comma action. Okay, and we're going to write the function for it. Okay, so how we can implement the remove from cart. Okay, so basically what we do over here is firstly we'll be making use of the filter method inside our remove from cart, and we'll be filtering out based on id. Okay, so if the user presses on remove from cart, so based on the id we'll be filtering out that particular product from the cart. So that particular is pretty much outside of the cart. Okay, so we're going to say const remove item equals to state dot cart dot filter. Okay, so state dot cart dot filter. So for every item you're gonna just give the item dot id is not equal to the action dot payload dot id. Okay, so based on this condition we are pretty much filtering the item from outside of the cart, and then we'll be equating it to the cart. So we're going to say state dot cart equals to remove item, like this. Okay, so that's it about the remove from cart. So now let's move on to the next reducer, that is basically what it was. Yeah, increment quantity, right? So we're going to say increment quantity as such, and we're going to say the state, let's write that correctly, and action. Okay, so increment quantity is pretty simple. We're going to check if the item is present. If the item is present, then we're going to just increase the quantity by 1. Okay, so we're going to say const item present equals to state dot cart dot the find method. Again we'll be accessing the item, And in case the item dot, okay, what was that? Let's just remove this. So if the item dot id equals to the action dot payload dot id. Okay, so in this case that means the item has been present, so we're just going to say pretty much item present dot quantity plus plus. Okay, so that's it about the increment quantity. That was pretty simple. So now let's move on to the decrement quantity button. Okay, so basically increment quantity is applied on the plus button, and the decrement quantity is applied on, of course, the minus button, right? So we're gonna say decrement quantity, it's gonna access the state and action, okay, like this. And we're gonna say pretty much const. Okay, so firstly let's discuss how we can implement the decrement quantity. Okay, so in case let's say the quantity of a particular product is 1, and if we press on the minus button, then in that case we should remove that particular product and we should show the add to cart button again. Okay, so let's say in case the quantity of the of a particular product is more than 1, let's say if it's 2, 3, 5 or even 10, then in that case if the user presses on the minus button, then in that case we should just decrement the quantity of the particular product by 1. Okay, so yeah, let's write that out. So we're going to say const item present equals to state dot cart dot find for every particular item if the item dot id equals to the action dot payload dot id. Okay, so if this is the case, that means we're going to apply the condition. So if item present, come on, dot quantity equals to 1. Okay, in this case we're just going to pretty much remove the item from the cart. We're going to say const remove item equals to, I'm just writing the same thing that I wrote in the remove from cart method. Okay, dot filter item dot id is not equal to the state dot cart, not this one, action dot payload dot id. Okay, so over here we're pretty much removing the item. It's going to be state dot cart equals to remove item. Okay, else that means the quantity is of course greater than 1. So in this case we're just going to increase the decrease the quantity by 1. It's going to be item present dot quantity minus minus. Okay, yeah, so we have included all the 4 reducers, that is add to cart, remove from cart, increment quantity, and then decrement quantity. And we have understood how exactly each of the actions are going to work inside of our web app. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to export the values. So we're going to say export const add to cart, remove from cart, and then we have basically increment quantity and then decrement quantity equals to cart slice dot actions. Okay, so after that we have is basically we're going to export the default reducer. So it's going to be export default cart slice dot reducer. Okay, I don't know why it is erroring out for some reason. Okay, cannot have multiple default exports. So over here we're going to say export default. Okay, we can't write default. Why is that happening? Okay, let's check that out. Okay, so over here what we're going to do is let's write default cart slice dot actions, dot reducers. Okay, why is it erroring out? But here at the top it has to be const instead of default. Okay, yeah, so now we can export the required value. So it's going to be export default, uh, let's just space that out, that is cart slice dot reducer. Okay, so now the next step inside of Redux is to basically create the store that we have. Okay, so let's go do that. So over here let's press on a new file, that is store.js. Okay, so the first thing we want is to configure the store. So we're going to say import configure store from the Redux toolkit. Okay, and we're going to say export default configure store. It's going to take in an object of reducers. Okay, it's going to take in basically the reducer. So in our case, let's name it cart, and it's going to be cart reducer. Okay, so let's import the cart reducer from our Redux, from our cart slice file that is there inside our Redux folder. So we're going to say import cart reducer from, okay, basically our Redux folder and then cart slice. Okay, so save the file. So I think we have set up the Redux part. So the next thing we look into is basically, let's firstly check if everything is working correctly. Let's check out our web page, refresh once. Yeah, so everything is working correctly. So now what we do is we're gonna firstly check our cart value. Okay, so for that reason, let's come back to our body part. Okay, so over here where we have our components, let's go into body. So first let's try to access our cart. Okay, so const cart equals to, we'll be making use of the use selector hook to access our cart. Okay, so use selector from React Redux as such. Let's access the state. So it's gonna be state dot cart, the reducer name dot cart again. Okay, so let's console.log the cart value. So let's say like this, save the file. Okay, so let's come back to our web page. Oh my god, what happened? Let's check out a console. Hopefully there should be some error. Okay, could not find React Redux. Okay, ensure. Oh my bad. We have forgotten the important part. That is, we have not imported the provider inside our app.js. Okay, so firstly let's comment this out and let's check out our web page. I think that's the reason it was erroring out. Okay, my system is super slow today. So let's come over here. Yeah, so now let's go into our app.js. So for everything to work, we need to include something called as the provider over here. Okay, so let's do that. So let's say provider. Okay, so let's pretty much import, copy all of this into the provider, and let's import the provider from React Redux as such. So format once, so provider over here, not able to auto import. Yeah, we got it. So the provider is going to take in the main thing, that is the store. So let's say store equals to store. So let's auto import, let's import a store from the store file. We're going to say import store from store. Okay, so save the file. So now let's come back to our body. So hopefully nothing should break over here. Okay, so now let's come back to our body inside over here and let's uncomment this. So now hopefully we should get the correct value of the cart, right? Okay, nothing is breaking out. So let's inspect. Let's come to the console. Yes, now it's working absolutely fine. So we are getting an empty array at the initial state, which is absolutely correct because there are no items added into the cart. Okay, so now what we're going to do is pretty much we are going to go into our product item and we're going to dispatch some actions that we have. Okay, so to dispatch actions, we need to make use of the use dispatch hook that is coming from the React Redux. So we're going to say const dispatch equals to use dispatch. Let's import it from React Redux as such. Okay, so let's create an on-click event on the add to cart button. So we'll not be looking into this now currently, so we'll be focusing on only on the add to cart button. So we're going to say on click. Okay, initialize a function. We're gonna say add item to cart. Okay, so let's go define this function right at the top. So we're gonna pass in the argument, I mean the parameter that is item, that's coming from basically the props. Okay, so we're gonna say const add item to cart equals to, it's gonna take in the item itself. So this is basically our payload, that is the entire item. So firstly we're gonna say dispatch add item to cart, add to cart. So this is going to come from our cart slice, and we're going to pass in the payload as the item that's coming from the parameter over here from this function. Okay, so I think that's it about the add to cart. So if I press on the add to cart button now, the product should be added to the cart. Okay, so let's come back over here. Let's pretty much check out our console. So currently we have an empty array. So let's say I press on the first product. Okay, yeah, so there you go. So the first product has been added into our cart. Okay, so you can see the payload pretty much category is over here, id is 1, so the quantity is 1, so the price is of that particular price. Okay, so that thing is working absolutely fine. So now let's implement in such a way that if at all there is a product inside our cart, so this should be showing remove from cart. Okay, so let's do that part currently. Okay, so over here we're gonna make a condition. We're gonna say if cart.sum, we'll be making use of the sum method inside of JavaScript. We'll be checking if the x.id equals to the item.id. Okay, if this is the case, that means the product is there inside the cart. Okay, so let's pretty much copy this and paste it over here. The same thing over here. Okay, so firstly let's get access to our cart, because there is no access to our cart inside our product item. So we're gonna say const cart equals to use selector. Okay, let's import it from React Redux. Access the state, and we're gonna pretty much access the state dot cart dot cart. Okay, so now what we do is basically so if this is the case, we're gonna show remove from cart. Okay, remove from cart. Okay, so save the file. Yeah, so there you go, remove from cart carry. Let's write that correctly. Okay, so since our first item has been added to our cart, so you can see the message which says remove from cart. Okay, so that's working absolutely fine. So the next thing we look into is basically what we do is we're gonna create a new function for this as well. So we're gonna say remove item from cart. Okay, like this, and we're gonna initialize it over here. So we're gonna say const remove item from cart. Okay, is it the correct spelling? Remove item from cart? No. So remove item from cart equals to, it's going to take in the item as the parameter from the function. Okay, so pretty much we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to say dispatch, we're going to call in our action that is remove from cart, and the payload for this is going to be item itself. So basically we're going to check the ID of this particular product, and inside our cart slice basically we will be making use of the filter method over here. Where did that go? Yeah, over here, and basically we'll be removing this particular product from the cart. Okay, so pretty much let's import our action from the cart slice like this. Okay, so save the file. So now in case I press on the remove from cart, this button should go and we should be seeing add to cart. Okay, that's not working. I think we have made some error, right? So let's check out our console. Yeah, so still the product is there. I think there is some error, right? So let's look into that. So remove item. Okay, we have not passed the payload, the item. Okay, so let's save the file. So now it should work. Let's press on remove from cart. Yes, that's working absolutely fine. So now let's give a cursor of pointer to basically the button. So let's go over to our product item.css. So where we have both of the button, we're going to say cursor of pointer. Same thing over here. Come on, cursor of pointer. Okay, so save the file, and yeah, so add to cart. So yeah, we can add pretty much all the items to the cart, and the functionality is working really nice. Okay, There are no bugs. That's really cool. So now if at all there is any items, we're gonna make use of the cart over here, and we'll be rendering the number of items over here. Okay, so let's pretty much add some items into our cart, and over here let's come back to our header over here, and firstly let's access our cart inside our header. So we're going to say const cart equals to use selector. We'll be making use of the same thing, that is use selector. So we're going to say state dot cart dot cart. Okay, so how to access the number of products? So pretty much it's going to be the cart dot length will give you the number of products that is present inside our cart. Okay, so essentially cart is an array, so that's it. That's the reason we're going to say cart dot length. Okay, so save the file. So yeah, we should be seeing 3 in the console, right? That's coming, I mean not in the console, on the icon. So now the next step is basically let's give even a cursor of pointer to this. I'm going to say cursor of pointer. Okay, so save the file. Let's come back to our web page. Yeah, so that part is working absolutely fine. So the next thing we look into is basically the next screen. So for that we'll be installing the React router DOM. Okay, so let's get into that part right now. So React router DOM. Okay, so let's do that real soon. Okay, so let's install that. Let's go into the quick start. Yeah, so let's install using this code. I don't know why is that getting copied. Yeah, React router DOM, and let's paste it over here, enter. Okay, so inside our app.js we'll be doing, so before that inside our screens we'll be creating basically our home screen that we have. So it's going to be home.js. Okay, let's write RFC to get the shorthand snippet. Okay, my system is super slow. Save the file. Let's create our corresponding home.css file. So we're going to say home.css, and let's import our home.css file into our home.js. Okay, we're going to say import home.css as such, like this. Save the file. So the next we'll also create our next screen that we have, that is basically our cart screen. Okay, so let's write that. So we're going to say cart.js and RFC to get the shorthand snippet. Okay, like this. Save the file, and let's pretty much create our corresponding cart.css file as well. So cart.css. Now let's import our cart.css into our cart.js. So import cart.css. Okay, save the file. So we have pretty much created all our screens. So that is basically 2 screens for now. Later we'll be creating our order screens as well. So inside our app, what we're going to do is we'll be copying pretty much whatever they've given, the boilerplate code. That is this one, the router part. Okay, so let's essentially copy the router. Let's come back to our app.js. Let's remove everything. Okay, let's check if there is anything in app.css. Nothing is there. So app.js, let's remove everything over here. Paste like this. Okay, let's remove the div tags, that's not required, and even these comments are not required. Okay, so instead of the switch we'll be making use of something called as the roots. Okay, so over here let's remove that out. So we're going to say roots. Let's import it from React router DOM. So over here as well, let's say roots, and let's import pretty much these values, the import codes, this one. Okay, copy that out and paste it over here. Okay, so now what we do is for each of the roots we will be providing the root. Okay, so let's remove each of the things and we're going to write it over here. So we're going to say root. Okay, I think we need to provide the name. Was it the name? I just forgot the thing. So yeah, so now the name, it has to be the path. So we're gonna say path. So the first path will be is /. So / signifies the main home screen that we have. So after the path we have something called as the element tag, where we need to provide whatever we are returning. Okay, so we'll be returning basically our home. Okay, so let's import our home from our screens folder, and let's import it like this. So inside our home, let's pretty much get our two things, that is basically our header part like this, and let's give this a class name of home. Okay, so after the header we have is the body, so let's say header, and after this we have is of course the body, and pretty much let's import body from the components folder as such. Okay, so save the file, and let's save the home file, I mean the app.js as well. I think hopefully nothing should go wrong, because I think we have done it correctly. Let's check it out. Oh god, okay, we have error. What is that? Okay, no file directory ecommerce. Okay, module build failed. Why is that happening? Okay, let's check it out inside our console over here. Okay, build failed, no such directory. Okay, but why is this error exactly coming, right? So format this once. Okay, let's import roots once. So that's currently there in React Redux. Okay, so there is something error with React Redux. Okay, so okay, my bad. I got to know what the error is. We have just forgot to write the provider part, right? So here we're gonna say provider, making a lot of mistakes. So inside a provider, pretty much let's access our roots. Okay, so over here, so provider, we're gonna of course provide the store. It's gonna be store. Okay, so save the file. So hopefully now it should not give us the error. Oh my god, again we have it. Yeah, store is imported over here again. So let's just cut the server once and then start it off from the again. Yarn start. Yes, yes, now it's working currently fine. Okay, yeah, so now we are in the correct position, and yeah, so now let's continue building it up. Okay, so the next thing we provide is the second root that we have, that is basically for the cart. Okay, so that's gonna be root, so path is gonna be /cart. Okay, and let's provide the element. So element is essentially gonna be our cart page. Okay, so let's write that correctly. So it's gonna be cart. Let's import cart from the screens folder first. Okay, save the file. Let's remove this thing, that is the body and header, that's not required over here. And let's even remove the switch and the link, that also is not required. Okay, so save the file. So let's keep everything nice and clean. Save the file. So if you come to /cart, you should be seeing the cart screen. There you go, that's working absolutely fine. Okay, so now what we do is, if in case there is any items present inside our cart, we'll be making use of some design. And okay, so firstly let's import, let's provide the functionality for this. So if I press on this, we should be navigated to the next screen, that is the cart screen. So firstly let's go into our header part over here, and we're going to say over here const cart, not const cart, const navigate equals to use navigate, and let's import it from react to DOM like this. And let's provide a onPress event on our div tag, that is basically on the input container over here. Okay, so we're going to say on click, not on press, on click. Okay, so we're going to say navigate to cart. Okay, or just let's write this. Let's pretty much define this function over here, const navigate to cart. Okay, so we're just going to say navigate, we're going to access that navigate, and we're going to come on let's write it correctly. Navigate, and we're just going to write the path where we want to navigate to. We want to navigate to /cart. Okay, so I think that's it. So let's save the file. Hopefully it should work. Okay, I've given the on click on the wrong dev container. It should come on the icon that is over here. Okay, my bad. Save the file. So I think essentially everything is correctly done. So yeah, so currently we have 2 items. Let's press on over here. Yeah, so now that's working absolutely fine. We are coming into the next page, that is the cart page. So the next thing we do is we are going to design the cart screen. Okay, we'll be making use of some design styles, and then we'll be designing the cart screen over here. Okay, so now let's go back to our cart.js file and then start writing our div container. Okay, so over here let's write our first div container. So this is going to be the left part. So towards the left part we'll be making use of basically the products that we're going to render, and towards the right part basically we have all the subtotal basically of all the products and the checkout button. Okay, so over here what is going to happen over here is we're going to make use of a div. Okay, so again for the right part, not cart, for the right part again we have another div right over here. Okay, so for this firstly let's give the class name. So this is going to be class name of cart. Okay, and for this part is going to be class name of cart left. Okay, and for this part it's going to be a class name of cart right. Okay, so save the file. And firstly let's give the design, and let's give this equal spacing, not equal spacing. So more spacing is going to go for the cart left part, and a bit of spacing is going to go for the cart right part. Okay, so let's save the file, and let's come back to our cart.css. Okay, so we're going to target the cart. We're going to give a display of flex first because we need to see it in a row, and after that we have is basically item center. So align item center, we're going to say a flex of 1. Okay, we're going to target the cart left part. Okay, and we're going to give a background color for this. Let's keep it green for now. Okay, so here we'll be giving a flex of 0.7, and for the right part, that is cart right, we're going to give basically a background color of orange and a flex of 0.3. Okay, now let's see how exactly our cart screen is looking. Okay, we cannot see anything. Let's come back to our cart.js and then let's write in a h1 tag. Okay, or let's say a h4 tag. Left part and right part. Okay, let's write that out. Right part, save the file. Yeah, so there you go, we can see the spacing correctly coming. So more spacing is given to basically the products. Okay, and towards the right we have the basic spacing for the checkout button as well as for the total part. Okay, so now before this we are going to render the header also. Okay, so let's make use of the fragment and let's paste it over here. Okay, so just before this we're going to make use of header. So let's just import our header component. Okay, not header, like this, our header component from the components folder, and save the file. Okay, so yeah, there you go, we can just see the header coming out. Okay, so now what we do is we're just gonna pretty much show all the products over here, right? So let's start showing out the products. So for cart left, let's give some margin and some internal spacing as well. So cart.css, cart left, let's say a margin of 15 pixels, that is some external spacing. Okay, and now let's also give some internal spacing, that is a padding of 10 pixels. Okay, all right, so now instead, so let's remove the background color of green, that's not required now. Okay, so after that we have is pretty much, let's start showing up the products. Okay, so let's remove this, and we have the access to the cart. No, we don't. So let's access the cart. So it's going to be const cart equals to the use selector. Let's import it from React Redux, access the state, and it's going to be state.cart.cart. Okay, so over here we'll be making use of the map function. Okay, so it's going to be cart.map for each and every item, and then index. We're going to return a new div altogether. Okay, so let's write that out correctly, div. And over here this is going to contain 3 divs. One is for the image. Okay, so this is for the image basically, and the second one is for the description part of it. So let's write that out. So this is gonna have basically the description. Okay, then after that we have is again the buttons. Okay, basically the buttons to remove the that is a minus and plus buttons. So again for this we are gonna have a div tag altogether. So let's close that out like this. And yeah, so as I told, the first thing is the image. So let's get the image. So it's going to be the image tag. Okay, so the source is going to be, of course, item.image image. Okay, so let's give some inline styling to this itself. So we're going to say a width of 100 and a height of 100. Okay, so let's write that out. So width is going to be 100 and the height is also 100. So let's save the file. And yeah, so for this container, let's give the class name. So class name for this is going to be let's say cart container like this. Okay, so this has to be in a display of flex, right? So let's go into the cart container where we have all the images. So over here let's target that, and we're going to say display flex. So let's look at the web page. Hopefully we should see all the items. Nope, we are not able to see anything. I don't think there is. Okay, let's come over here. Okay, let's add some items into the cart and let's check it out. Yeah, so you can see pretty much 2 items coming correctly. Okay, so let's also give some margin bottom to each of the cart container, basically like this. So margin bottom of 20 pixels. Okay, yeah, so that's working correctly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much target the next part where the description comes in. Okay, so this is going to contain basically 2 p tags. Okay, so the first one is of course the item.name. So item.name. So here we'll be targeting, let's say, more than 60 characters because we have a lot of space. So if item.name.length is greater than 60. Okay, if that's the case, then we're gonna just make use of the substring method. Okay, again we have taken name, it should be title. So item.title. If the item.title.substring of 0,60, else it's just gonna be item.title if it is less than 60 characters. Okay, so the next thing we have is of course the p tag. So this is for again the item.description. Okay, so let's write that out. So it's going to be item.description. If its length is greater than, let's say, 80 characters. Okay, in that case we'll be making use of again the substring method. So it's going to be item.description.substring of 0,80. Okay, if in case the description is less than 80 characters, we're just going to show the description itself. So it's going to be item.description. Okay, so let us pretty much save the file and check out over here. Yeah, so you can see all the information coming out correctly. Okay, so the next thing we look into is basically let's style this part out. So let's give this, it's going to be class name, and over here we'll be giving cart description. Okay, let's write the spelling correctly, cart description, and let's target this one. Save the file, come back to the cart.css file, and we're gonna give some margin top of 10 pixels and margin left of 10 pixels since it's almost touching our image. So save the file. Yeah, so you can see it coming correctly. So for each of the container inside of the card description, that is basically for these two, let's provide a gap. Okay, let's give a gap of 7 pixels to both of them. So come back to the web page. Okay, I don't think anything is working. So okay, instead of gap, let's give just margin top to this text. Okay, so let's just give inline styling over here. So we're gonna say margin top of 10 or 8 pixels. 8, come on. Yeah, so you can see the margin being applied correctly. So the next part is basically to display the price over here. Okay, so let's display that also. So let's come over here, and basically after the p tag, let us just simply place the price. Here also we're going to give a margin top of 8. Okay, so after this we have is basically the item dot price. Okay, so save the file and come over here. Yeah, so you can see the price value coming up correctly. So the next thing is basically towards the right we have is the buttons, right? So we're gonna say class name, it's gonna be cart buttons. So each of them will be having let's say the div. Okay, so let's write a div for each of them. So the first one is gonna have the minus button, and this one is pretty much gonna have the item dot quantity attribute. Okay, so let's say item dot quantity, and the final div is gonna have okay, so it's gonna have basically the plus button. Okay, so just before this buttons we're gonna have another div, that's the outer container, which is gonna contain basically another button. Okay, that is which says remove from cart. So let's paste it over here like this, format it once and save the file. Yeah, so you can pretty much see all the values coming out correctly. Okay, so now what we do is we're gonna provide a flex of 1 to this middle container so that it pushes out this to the right part. Okay, so let's do that. So what we do is we go to the card description over here, and we're gonna say a flex of 1, flex grow of 1. Okay, yeah, so there you go. It has pushed out all of the container to the right part because we have given of the value of flex grow of 1. So the next part is of course for the card buttons. Let's target that. Okay, so we're gonna give a display of flex to it. So let's copy that out. We're gonna say display flex align items of center and save the file. Okay, so let's give a gap for each of them. Hopefully it should work this time, of 10 pixels most probably. Yes, it's working and it's looking better. Okay, so the next part is I think, yeah, below this we can give the button, that is basically the button which says remove from cart. Okay, so it is gonna come after this div. So we want to say div, or we're just gonna say button, never mind. So this is gonna say remove item. Okay, so let's give the class name to this button, so it's gonna be cart button. Okay, it's gonna be singular. So save the file. Let's come back to our cart.css and let's target this. So we're gonna give a background color that we have given basically in the previous page. So I think that's there inside our product item, if I'm not wrong, this one inside the CSS part. So we're gonna give, let's say, any one of these color. Okay, so let's just pretty much copy this. Let's come back to our card.css, paste it over here. Okay, some spacing, internal spacing 10 pixels and border radius of 6 pixels. Okay, so save the file. Okay, that's looking very huge. So let's target basically our outermost container, that is basically, I don't think we have given the name to that, right? This one. So class name, you're gonna say cart. Okay, we have cart left, cart right also is there. So this is gonna be uh, cart button container. Okay, I don't think there's any name which is having this name. Save the file, copy this class name, and we're going to come into the cart.css and paste it over here. Okay, and we are going to give a display of flex. Okay, and we are going to give a flex direction of column to this. Save the file. Okay, it's still not working. Let's come back, add some items to the cart, and over here let's check it out. Okay, I don't know why it's not working, so let's give let's check it out correctly. Okay, so inside our, okay, I think that's because it should be inside this div if I'm not wrong. It should come over here. Come on. Yeah, now it should work. It should come below. Yeah, so that's looking good. So now let's I think let's decrease the padding, and let's even give other styles, that is outline of none and the border of none. So let's go to cart.css and we're going to give outline of none. Okay, and we're going to give a border of none as well. So let's save the file, and padding, let's give it just 5 pixels. Okay, yes, that's looking really good. And let's give some spacing towards the top, that is a margin top of 8 pixels. Okay, and yeah, pretty much it's looking better. So now what we do is we'll be giving the functionalities for basically this part, that is the minus button, plus button. So firstly let's give the cursor pointer to it. So over here we're gonna say style, we're gonna give cursor and pointer. So the same thing we're gonna give for the last one, that is the plus button that we have. It's gonna be cursor and then pointer. So let's save the file, and then over here, yeah, you can see that applying. So let's give the cursor pointer to the button as well. So let's go to cart.css over here, and for the button we're going to say cursor pointer. Okay, save the file. Yeah, so you can see that working clearly. So the next part is, yeah, to give the functionalities for basically the minus button and plus button. Okay, and yeah, so this, okay, we forgot to put one more thing, that is basically the price, right? So yeah, we can put that just beneath the remove item. So over here, after this, let's put in a h5 tag, and we're gonna say item dot price multiplied by item dot quantity. Okay, so save the file. Yeah, so currently you can see that also coming. So let's give some margin top to that value. So we're gonna say class name, not class name, style. So style is gonna be a margin top of, let's say, 7, and save the file. Yeah, I think that's looking better. So now let's give basically the functionalities for, yeah, minus and the plus button. So what we do is we're gonna initialize the on click event on the plus button first. We're gonna say on click equals to, this is gonna be increment item quantity of basically that particular item that's coming from the map, right? So let's write that out, and over here we're gonna say const increment item quantity equals to, it's gonna take the item. Okay, over here we'll be making use of the dispatch hook. So firstly let's initialize the dispatch. Okay, so we're gonna say const dispatch, wrong spelling, equals to use dispatch. Okay, so let's import it from React, again wrong spelling, come on. Let's import it from React Redux like this. And yeah, so whenever we press on the plus button, we're going to dispatch the increment quantity action, right? So let's write that, and let's also import it from our Redux file, that is from the cart slice file like this, and the payload is going to be item. Okay, so let's save the file, and let's come and check if everything is working. So if I press on the plus button, yes, there you go, the quantity is getting increased as well as the price is also getting increased. Okay, so that part is working absolutely fine. So now let's give the functionality for the minus button. Okay, so let's go do that. So inside where we have the minus button, let's say on click. Okay, we're gonna pretty much do decrement quantity of the item. Okay, it should be decrement item quantity because we have the same name, that is the action. So save the file. So over here we are gonna say const decrement item quantity equals to item. It's gonna take the item as the parameter, and over here we're just gonna dispatch a decrement quantity of item. Okay, so now let's also import decrement quantity from our action, that is basically cart slice file like this, and let's save the file. Okay, so currently if the quantity is more than 1, as I told, it's going to go into the else condition, and it's just going to decrease the quantity by 1. Yes, so there you go, it's 1. And now the quantity of this particular product is 1. So in this case we should just remove this item outside of the cart, right? So there you go, we just have one cart, we just have one item present inside our cart. Okay, so that's the way this works. So now let's provide the functionality for the remove item. Okay, so for that, let's come back to our div over here. So where we have the button basically over here, where did that go? Yeah, over here. Let's give on click event basically, and over here we are gonna say remove item from cart, and for the payload is gonna be item, that is basically the parameters. We're gonna pass item as the param, and over here let's define the function, that is const remove item. Let's check out the name correctly. Remove item from cart. Okay, remove item from cart. Okay, equals to basically the item it's gonna take in. And over here what we're going to do is, again, it's going to be super simple. We're just going to dispatch remove quantity of item. Okay, so let's I don't think it's remove quantity, my bad. It should be remove item. Let's check out the name. I'm just not remembering the name. It should be remove from cart. Okay, let's copy this and paste it over here. Let's import it from the cart slice file like this and save the file. Okay, so let's pretty much go back, add some items into our cart. Okay, let's add some items into the cart and come over here. Okay, so basically we have 4 items, and if you press on remove item, that item should be gone, right? So that's the exact working of this app. Yeah, so I think we have done the exact implementation of the cart screen. Okay, we are able to increase the quantity, decrease the quantity, and we're even able to remove the remove this particular item from the cart like this, and pretty much all the functionality is working exactly fine. Now towards the left part we'll be building basically the right part, that is the subtotal, as well as to calculate the total price, the subtotal part, and we'll be rendering the checkout button. Okay, so if the user presses the checkout button, then it'll be navigated to the next screen, basically that is the order screen. Okay, and we'll be showing all of our orders. Okay, so let's start with the right part. Okay, so now let's go back to our card.js, and then let's start putting up the designs for the right part, that is basically over here. Okay, so firstly over here, if you check out the website, okay, it should actually start from the top, but it's starting from almost at the center part, right? So let's look into the styles where we have done the mistake, because it should start from the top right part. Okay, so for the cart we have given the cart left, and then the cart right over here. Okay, but yeah, so the cart left is actually starting from the top, given that we have given the margin as well as the padding, so it's coming over here. But this we have not given any styles to the cart right part, but yet it is starting from this bottom space. Okay, so let's look into where we have exactly made the mistake. Okay, so if you check over here inside our cart left, cart right, We have just given the background color of orange and a flex of basically that value, that is 0.3. And for cart left we are given 0.3 as well, I mean 0.7 for cart left, and we've given this margin and padding. So that's the reason it is just spacing out and then showing it from that correct direction, right? But over here still we are not able to see why it is starting from the center point, right? So let's come back to our cart what js.once. Okay, and over here let's just pretty much copy this a couple of times and let's see like where is it gonna start. Okay, so save the file. Okay, it is like currently at the center part itself, because okay, so I think we have given the correct design styles, but okay, so cart button container, this cart container is there, and we have just rendered all the details over there inside cart container. Yeah, we have given display flex and margin bottom. That doesn't do good by changing it, but still we have that error over here. So inside our cart.js, just a minute, we have our cart left and this is the cart right. Okay, so cart left part is currently in the correct direction, it is coming from where it has to come. But for the right part, that is basically the cart right, it is erroring out, right? So it should come from over here, the right part, but it is still coming from the center. Let's look into it one more time. Okay, basically the error has to be over here, that is cart.css. So let's look into it from the start. Okay, so basically over here we are giving the class name of cart, and inside this div we have two children, that is the cart left part and then cart right part. Okay, so for the cart we are giving display of flex and align items of center and a flex of 1. Okay, that's good. uh, okay, my bad. We shouldn't have given align items of center, so that's the reason it is aligning basically centrally to this part of the div. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove align item center. Hopefully this should give us the correct direction. Okay, I think hopefully it should start from the top. Yes, now it's working correctly, right? So I think that was a mistake, that is align items of center, we shouldn't have given that. So now let's come back to our cart.js and let us basically come over here and remove everything. Okay, so firstly we'll be creating 3 divs over here. Oh come on, so this is a div number 1 like this. Okay, so inside div 1 we're gonna have basically the location information and the button. Over here it's gonna be location info and button. Okay, so the second div is basically gonna have the coupon info and description. Okay, let's write that out correctly. And after this we have, yeah, so let's initialize the div for this. And after this we have basically is the container for the checkout part and the what do you say the button, I mean the total price. Okay, so for that also we have another div, so let's write that out like this. And let's start styling our first div, that is the location info and the button. So this is going to have another div of it inside of it, and the first thing over here is basically the icon. So let's get the icon. Okay, so we'll be making use of material icons, I mean material UI. So let's press on the first link and then get started. Let's search, we have already searched for material icon, so let's press on that and pretty much let's search for the location icon. Okay, so pretty much let's use, yeah, this one, location on. Okay, so let's pretty much copy it so that it gets copied to the clipboard. And then let's come back over here, let's paste it inside our card screen like this. Okay, and the first thing over here is basically the location on icon, so it's gonna be location on. Okay, is that the spelling? Nope, it's this one, location on icon. So let's pretty much paste it over here. Okay, So let's save the file and let's come back to our page. Yeah, so you can see the icon coming up. So after that we have two kinds of a div and a button. I mean one div, and inside that div we have two kinds of description and a button. Okay, so let's initialize a div for that. Okay, so this is going to contain basically a p tag which is going to say select your location. Okay, and after that we have is another p tag which says please select location so we can find you, something like this. Okay, these are two kinds of description that is present inside of the div tag. So let's save the file once, and yeah, so you can see both of the info coming up on the screen. So let's go back, and firstly let's give the class names for the containers. Okay, so we're gonna say class name. Okay, so this is gonna be Cartwright. Let's give location for this, Cartwright location. Okay, so for this we're gonna say class name. We should also target this, so let's give Cartwright location container for this container, and this is just gonna be Cartwright location. Okay, so let's say class name, it's gonna be Cartwright location, and for this class name we're gonna give Cartwright description. Okay, so Cartwright description like this. Okay, so now let's target basically the cart location container. Okay, or basically the Cartwright, and then let's give some padding to it. I think it's already targeted over here. Let's give some internal spacing, that is padding of 10 pixels, and again same margin of 10 pixels to it, and save the file. Okay, yeah, so you can see the right part working correctly. So now let's remove the background color of orange. It's no more required. Okay, so save the file, and yeah, so now we can start designing this stuff. Okay, so firstly let's target our this thing, that is our cart right location, and let's give it a display of flex because it has two children, that is the icon and these two descriptions. Okay, so let's go to our cart.css, paste this one, and we're going to say display of flex and align items of center. Okay, save the file. Okay, so let's remove align items of center because we wanted to start from the top part itself. So in that case let's remove this, save the file. All right, so now it's looking better. So now for the description part, that is this one, Cartwright description, let's give it some spacing. Okay, so over here we're gonna target that, and we're gonna say a margin left of basically 10 pixels. It's almost touching the icon, so that's the reason we give 10 for that. Okay, so let's target the text part of it. Okay, so over here for the p tag we're gonna say class name, it's gonna be cart right text. Okay, so save the file, and let's give the same kind of class name for the second one as well, that is cart right text. All right, so now let's pretty much target the cart right text and come back over here, and we're gonna target this. We're gonna give a font size of 13 pixels and a font weight like this of 400. Okay, I think this should do good, so save the file. Yeah, I think that's looking better. Okay, so after that we have is basically a button kind of container, so let's initialize that. So that's going to come right after the p tags. Okay, so we're going to say a button, so this is going to basically be select location. Okay, so literally save the file and come back over here. Yeah, so you can see the button coming out. So we're gonna give the class name for the button and give it some styling. Okay, so we're gonna say class name, and it's gonna be cart right button. I hope there is no other name of this name that is given to the class name, cart right button. We have cart buttons, and yeah, that's correct. So let's pretty much save the file, copy this class name, that is cart right button, and into the cart.css. let's target this out, and we're going to provide basically firstly some spacing towards the top because it's almost touching the top description. So we're going to say of 7 pixels margin top. So let's check that out. Yeah, so you can see the spacing being applied, and we're going to give a outline of none first like this, and a border of none. Okay, and we're going to give let's say a background color. So we're going to choose the background color from the the product item, right? So that's where we have initialized, that is product item.css. So let's copy pretty much any one of these and come back to our car.css and then paste it over here. Okay, so let's save the file. Yeah, so you can see the button being seen with the background color. So let's provide some internal spacing, that is padding of 8 pixels to it, so you can see the button being spaced out like this. And we're going to give a very slight and subtle border radius to it. So we're going to say border radius of 5 pixels. Okay, save the file, and we're going to keep the color as white for this time. Okay, so let's say color of white and a font size of 12 pixels and font weight of bold. Okay, so let's pretty much save the file. Yeah, so you can see that, and let's also give a cursor of pointer to the button. Okay, we're gonna say cursor and pointer. So pretty much save the file. Yeah, so you can see that being applied. So now let's give some spacing to the text that is present. Okay, because they're almost super close to each other. So where we have card text, we're just going to say a margin top of 3 pixels. Okay, that's enough. Yeah, I think that's looking better. So after that we have is pretty much another piece of div tag that is for the middle part, hopefully. Okay, so let's just paste this one more time, and let's then make it let's then later make the change. Okay, so it's going to come over here, so save the file. Okay, so for the where did that go? So for the cart right location, let's provide some margin top. Okay, so cart right location, margin top of 10. Okay, all right, so now the second thing is, okay, so it's only going to have one text that is for the second part of the div. So let's remove this out. Okay, so this is going to be choose location instead of select, and this one is going to be select your or choose your saved location. So choose your saved location. Okay, let's save the file and come over here. Yeah, so pretty much that's looking good. So I think for the icon, let's give it a color of gray and not black. So you're gonna say style, let's give inline styling over here itself. So we're gonna say color of gray. Yeah, so you can see the gray color being applied. So pretty much let's copy that piece of styling for the next icon as well. So over here, copy that out and paste it over here, not there. Save the file. Yeah, so the next part is basically the coupons part. Let's look into that. Okay, so for that, let us initialize a div over here. So pretty much this is gonna have the icon that is present, or I don't think we need the icon. I mean the div. We just need the icon. Let's get access to it. So over here, let's press on basically what's the name, coupon, right? So coupon. Okay, I don't think there is any icon for coupon, or let's even search for at least ticket. Okay, I think because both of the icons are pretty much similar, right? So over here we're gonna say ticket. Yeah, I think so pretty much we can use this, the confirmation one. So let's pretty much copy that out into the clipboard and then come over here. Let's firstly import it into our code, and then the first thing over here is the icon. So what was the name over here? It's confirmation number icon, right? So where was it? So confirmation number icon, and save the file. Okay, let's come over here into our web page. Yeah, so for this div, let's give some margin top. That is, we're gonna say class name. It's gonna be Cartwright coupon. So coupon. Okay, let's save the file, copy this class name. All right, let's come back to our cart.css, and over here we're gonna pretty much target this one, and we're gonna give a margin top of 15 pixels. Okay, so now save the file again, and yeah, so you can see that being applied. So for this color, we're gonna give it let's say let's give it gray again. Okay, so that it is in order. So over here for the icon, we're gonna give the inline styling over here. It's gonna be color, come on, color of gray. Okay, so pretty much save the file and into the web page. Yeah, so that's working fine. So again, over here we are gonna have basically two kinds of informations. That is basically we're gonna make use of a h4 tag, and after that we're gonna have a p tag. Okay, where did that go? It's gonna be select or apply coupon. Okay, so let's give the class name for this. That is for the h4 tag. So it's gonna be Cartwright coupon text. Okay, so save the file. So for the Cartwright coupon text, let's give the styling. So let's target that, and firstly let's check out our web page. Yeah, so you can see that coming. So now over here inside our cart.css, let's pretty much target that. Let's give it a font size of 14 pixels and a font weight of, let's say, 500. Okay, and save the file. Yeah, I think that's looking better, and we're gonna give this cursor of pointer for this. So let's give that cursor of pointer, save the file. So let's come back to our cart.css again, and basically we're gonna now target our Cartwright coupon, and we're gonna give it a display of flex because currently it is in a column fashion, right? So over here cart.css, pretty much target this. We're gonna say display flex, and yeah, we're not gonna give align items again of center. Okay, so for the second part, that is the div that is present. Okay, I don't think there is any div, right? Yeah, I think I forgot to give the div. So over here we're gonna give the div tag, which is gonna contain these two texts. All right, so let's format once, and pretty much over here we're gonna give some internal styling, that is basically a margin left of 10, since it's almost touching the icon, same as the previous case, right? So it's super simple. Yeah, so now it is in, yeah, it has been given some space. So now the next thing is it's gonna say apply coupons. Basically to avail offers on the products. Okay, so that's what about the second description that is present inside our p tag. So let's save the file. Yeah, so I think that's looking a bit huge. So let's give pretty much the class name to this. Okay, so class name, it's gonna be basically Cartwright coupon small. Okay, so save the file. Let's pretty much target this, and over here we're gonna give some spacing towards the top of 4 pixels, and also we'll be including the font size of 13 pixels and font weight of 500. Okay, so that's it about the Cartwright coupon small. So save the file. Yeah, so you can see that part coming correctly, right? So the next part we'll be looking into is basically the final part where we have the button and the checkout part. Okay, so over here we'll be writing the class name for this. So we're gonna say class name. Okay, so it's gonna be Cartwright checkout. Okay, so after this we have is we're gonna make use of several div tags, which is gonna have two text fields inside of it. So let's say h5, and again we have h5. Okay, so firstly then we're gonna calculate the total part. Okay, so let's write total price, and here we'll be rendering our total inside our h5 tag. So save the file once. Yeah, so you can see that coming correctly. So now what we're gonna do is firstly we're gonna calculate the total. Yeah, so we have access to our cart, so let's do the total part real quick. So const total equals to, so firstly to calculate the total we'll be making use of the map function. Okay, and we'll be firstly multiplying of course the item dot price and the item dot quantity using the map function. So since we have many items present inside our cart, so currently we have two items, we'll be also making use of the reduce method, and then we'll be adding up the total of the first item and the total of the second item. So this part is done by using the reduce method. Okay, so let's write the code real soon. So it's going to be cart dot map. So for each an item that is present inside of our cart, let's take the item. First step, as I told, is to multiply and calculate the overall price that is based on the quantity of that particular product. It's going to be item dot price multiplied by item dot quantity. Okay, so this will just give the total of each item present inside of a cart. So we need to even add this up. Okay, so we're gonna say dot reduce. Okay, so it's gonna take pretty much the current and the previous value. That's the syntax of the reduce method, and pretty much we're just gonna return the summation of these two values. Okay, and reduce method also takes a second argument, that is the initial value we need to produce, that is 0 in our case. Okay, so this is the way to calculate the total calculation, that is the price total of a cart. So just to check the correction, we're just gonna say console.log of total if it is correct or not. So basically let's save the file and let's open up our console. Okay, so over here, yeah, so there you go, we have pretty much 78.29. I think that's correct. I think it's correct because 55.99 plus 22.3 is 78.29. Yeah, I think that's working correctly. Okay, so pretty much let's access our total price and render it inside our h5 tag that we just initialized, right? So firstly is over here cart right checkout. Let's give some spacing towards the top. It's almost touching the top container. I'm gonna say margin top of 14 pixels. Okay, yeah, so you can see that coming correctly. So now what we're gonna do is, after this we have is, let's render the total price like this. Okay, yes, so now for this container that is over here, it's gonna be class name, we're gonna say cart right checkout part. Okay, I don't know what names to give, just giving some random names. So let's select that out and pretty much paste it over here. We're going to say display of flex and align items of center for this, not baseline, center, and justify content of space between. Okay, space between is, I think it's taking okay, I don't think it's looking that bad, but okay, never mind, let it look like that itself, right? So the next part is basically we have is, let's say, discount. Okay, let's pretty much copy this a couple of times. Okay, like this, and save the file. So this is going to be the discount part. Okay, so currently if there is no discount, let's just put off a hyphen, okay, saying that there is no discount. And yeah, so for each of the children present inside the cart right checkout, let's give some gap. Okay, so cart right checkout, let's give a gap of 12 pixels each for each of the div containers. Save the file. That's not being applied, so let's give pretty much margin bottom. Okay, or let's give basically margin horizontal itself for each of the part. So cart right checkout part over here, so cart right checkout part, we're gonna give margin top of 12 pixels to each of the containers. Yeah, so now that's working correctly fine. So after that we have, let's say, the taxes and charges that's gonna come up. So let's initialize a random value over here right at the top. Over here we're gonna say const charges equals to, say, 30, something like that. Okay, and over here we're gonna initialize the third div. We're gonna say basically charges like this. Okay, and for the total it's gonna be, basically we'll be accessing our charges itself. Okay, save the file. Let's come back to our web page. Yeah, so you can see that being rendered. So the next part is basically the subtotal part. Okay, so let's do that part right now. So pretty much copy this. Now we'll be using a h3 tag for this. So h3, let's change it over here as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is basically this is going to be grand total. We're going to say grand total, and over here this is pretty much going to be the total price plus 35 plus 30, whatever the charges is, right? So save the file. Yeah, so there you go. So 78 plus 30 is 78.29 plus 30 is this value. That's looking correctly. Okay, so yeah, after this we have is basically a button that we're going to render. So that's going to be a place order button basically. So let's do that. Okay, so let's correctly, after this div tag we're going to make use of a button over here, and we're going to say place order. So pretty much save the file. Yeah, so you can see the button coming up correctly. So now let's give basically the class name for this. It's gonna be Cartwright checkout button. Okay, so checkout button like this. So let's save the file and let's target this button and give the style for this, right? So let's go over here. So we're going to say a background color of this one that we already selected, and we're going to give it a specific width of 200. Okay, and we're going to say outline of none. Okay, and we're also going to give some border radius to it. So border radius of, let's say, 4 pixels, and a border also should be none. And we're also going to give some spacing towards the top part because it's almost touching the top container. So margin top of, let's say, 8 pixels, something like that, and save the file. Yeah, so you can see that working. So the next thing we'll be looking into basically is the padding part, some internal spacing. So let's say padding of 10 pixels like this, and save the file. Yeah, so you can see that coming. So let us also give a cursor of pointer, and let's basically increase the width to 400. Okay, the width is not being increased. Why is that happening? So let's give it in terms of percentage, or I think we can just give padding, or I think padding is already given, right? Okay, never mind. So let's save the file once. Yeah, I think that's looking better. So now we have designed basically the right part. Okay, so basically after designing all these 3 things and the place order button, so next we'll be moving on to is the next screen, that is the order screen. So if we press on the place order button, we'll be including all these products into our orders, and then we'll be displaying the orders inside our next screen. Okay, so pretty much what we're going to do is firstly, before that, if you come over here, I just thought we should basically show some carousel at the top, because just showing the products would not be good. So firstly, let's introduce our carousel. Okay, so let's do that part now. Actually, this part had to be done just after styling the header part. Okay, so let's do the carousel part now. So we'll be making use of the React carousel. Okay, so we'll be making use of the React responsive carousel. Okay, so based on this dependency, we'll be designing our carousel part. Okay, So pretty much let's initialize this. Let's install this into our app. Okay, so save the file, and over here let's press on basically. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna say yarn add react responsive carousel. Okay, so this should install all the dependencies for this. So let's wait for this to happen, and basically we'll be making use of our component. Okay, so it's gonna be carousel. Okay, but I don't think, yeah, let's just make it carousel component, carousel component dot js. Okay, so let's type in rfce to get the shorthand snippet, right? Save the file, and pretty much let us import our carousel just after our header part. I mean, let's go into our home.js that is there inside our screens over here. So after the body we have is the carousel banner. So carousel banner. So let's import our carousel component from our components folder as such, like this, and save the file. Okay, so if you check out our web page, yeah, you should be seeing that carousel component coming up. So the next thing is basically what we do is let's pretty much copy the boilerplate code that they have given over here. So let's take this out. Okay, so carousel, and pretty much we are returning the carousel, and over here we need to import carousel from react responsive carousel, and we need to include one more part that I'm gonna tell in just a minute. So what we're gonna do is cancel that out and paste it over here. So let's try to auto import our carousel over here like this, and the next thing we want is basically this thing, because it requires a loader of this. So let's pretty much take this and paste it over inside our carousel component. Okay, so the next thing is let's remove the p tags that we are not including it, and over here also we're going to remove p tags, and here also we're going to remove the p tags. Okay, so now let me get the links for the images. Okay guys, so these are basically the link of the images. So let's pretty much copy each one of them. Okay, so over here let's copy the first one and paste it over here. Okay, let's copy the second one like this, and you're going to paste it right over here. So you can take time and of course copy the link of the images. Okay, so copy this correctly, and okay, we're going to paste it for the last image like this. Okay, it's looking good. So now let's save this file, and hopefully we should be seeing our carousel on our web page. Yes, there you go. So we are able to see the carousel, and we are able to move through the carousel. Okay, and we can even move through the bottom part in case we want. Over here we can select the images we want, and we are able to move through the carousel. Okay, so if you want, we can pretty much check out different options over here, that is autoplay. So let's give autoplay as true. Okay, so for our carousel we're gonna give autoplay, and we're gonna set it to be true. Okay, so the next part we'll be looking into is basically okay, we have on swipe end. So these are some of the attributes that the carousel has given us. So you can provide all these options and we can work into it. Okay, so we have render item, render thumbs, show arrows. Okay, I think let's just remove show arrows once, and then let's look how is it looking, right? So we're gonna say show arrows, and we're gonna set it to be false. So currently we had arrows like on the top of towards the right of the image, right? Yeah, so now the arrows are not being seen. So I think let's wait for it and let's see if it is moving on its own, right? Because we have given the autoplay of true. So let's look into that. Okay, I think it's taking a lot of time. So let us basically enable status of the current item to the total defaults to true, that is show status, and show indicators. I think indicators are basically these three dots that are present. Okay, we have status formatter, and then step on hover, swipeable. Yeah, I think we can give swipeable as true. Currently, can we swipe it? Nope, we are not able to swipe it. So let's give swipeable as true for the carousel over here. We're gonna say swipeable, and we're gonna set it to be true. Okay, like this, and pretty much save the file once. Okay, so okay, that's strange. I'm still not able to slide it. So yeah, we are able to see that a number as well. Yeah, so you can pretty much look into all of these options and give whatever you're interested in. Okay, so basically we have given some options. Okay, so let's actually give the arrow mark, okay, to just make it easy, because we are not able to swipe it also, right? So let's give it true. So anyway, the arrow mark is going to come only if we hover on the image, right? No, yeah. Yeah, so now we are good to go. Yeah, so this is the last image. Yeah, so I think that's looking good. Okay, so yeah, so that's it about the carousel part, and we have also designed the card screen as well as this part. Okay, so the next thing we'll be looking into is, as I already told, is the order screen. Okay, so if in case you pressed on this, will be, let's say we just put up a toast message, or even I'm thinking what else can we implement, right? So yeah, so firstly let's create our screens, right? So firstly, the first thing is to create the order screens that is present. So let's come over here, and pretty much let's go into our screens folder, and we're gonna say order screen .js. Okay, like this, and rfce to get the shortened snippet. Save the file. Let's also create the corresponding order screen.css file. Okay, so over here we're gonna say order screen.css. Okay, save the file. Let's come back to our order screen, import the css file real quick. So import, this is gonna be order screen.css. Okay, so that part is done. So in case, firstly let's include this order screen inside our root. Okay, over here, so we're gonna say root like this, and basically the path is gonna be / orders. All right, and the element we have is basically the order screen. Okay, so it's gonna be order, okay, not like this. Okay, what is happening? So let's write it correctly. So this is gonna be like this. So let's firstly import order screen from the order screens folder like this, and yeah, now it's working correctly. So save the file. So now let's go back to our order screen basically over here. Okay, so if you just cancel / cart and go to / orders, we should be seeing the order screen. Okay, so let us even equate. Basically what we're going to do over here is, okay, so currently we have lost the state. So one thing we will be doing is, if in case our cart is empty, we'll be showing a message which says our cart is empty. Okay, so let's do that part right now, because even if the cart is empty, we are seeing that design, right? So let's go to cart.js, and we'll be implementing that inside our right part over here. Okay, so we can do that with the help of the total basically. So over here we're going to check if the total equals to 0. Okay, if that's the case, then we're just going to give a div message which says that our cart is empty. Okay, so this is going to be a h2 tag which is going to say your cart is empty basically. Okay, and else if that's not the case, we'll be showing basically the right part and the place order part as well. So copy this. Okay, and let's include a fragment over here and paste it over here. Save the file. So now in this case, if you come to the cart, okay, let's give the same piece of styling for, or we could have given actually for the whole thing, right? Yeah, so let's pretty much copy all of the cart right part basically. Or okay, I'm getting confused because everything is there inside the cart. So let's do one thing. So let's just come back to our original state. Okay. Yeah, so this part will be doing it inside our cart, right? So let's okay, so all of this is there inside our cart, right? So basically we have 1 2 3 and then the button. Okay, so the condition is going to come over here. If the total is equals to 0, in that case we'll be showing a div message. Okay, like this, and this is going to have basically a h2 tag which says your cart is empty. Okay, else if that's not the case, we'll be pretty much showing the cart right. That's it. Okay, so save the file. Okay, so save the file. Hopefully there should be no error. Yeah, so there you go, your cart is empty. Okay, so that's looking good, and let's keep a button over here which says go back to the home page. Or yeah, I think that's looking better, right? So yeah, so let's come over here, add some items. Now we should not be able to see that message, right? Yeah, so now we are getting the correct result. So if you remove all the items, yeah, your cart is empty. Yeah, that's looking better. So now let's go back to our previous page. So of course, now if there is any items like on press of the place order button, will be showing all of the orders that are present inside of the order screen. Okay, so let's get into that part now. So now let's go back to our cart.js page, and if we press on, let's say on the place order button, the first thing we should do is that we should clean the cart, that is the remaining items present inside the cart, and we should push all of the items into the orders page. Okay, so before that we'll be displaying let's say a toast message to the user that the order has been placed. Okay, so for that reason, firstly we'll be making use of a dependency that is react toastify, and we'll be doing that inside our web app. Okay, so we're gonna go to react toastify. Okay, we'll be pressing on the first link over here. So basically let's check out the GitHub version. Okay, so let's go back over here, let's check this one. And what we do is we're gonna firstly go to installation part, and we're gonna do yarn add react toastify. Okay, so let's do this part real quick. So let's open up our terminal over here and let's paste this out. Okay, so this react toastify is essentially useful for giving messages, warnings, or any infos to the user if at all we need to perform any specific actions inside of our web page. Okay, so the next step is to firstly include our toast container like this. So let's include that over here, and let's pretty much include it anywhere where we are using inside our cart.js. So let's include it right over here. I think it has been installed. So pretty much let's import it from react toastify like this. Okay, yeah, it has been imported. So let's save the file. Okay, so now pretty much let's go back to our web page, and let's say if I press on the add to cart button, that is on the place order button, pretty much we should be seeing the toastify the toastify message, right? So now what we do is let's go back to introduction, and yeah, let's pretty much copy this value that they've given. Okay, so where did that go? This one, right? Yeah, so on click is basically they've given notify, so you can actually toast a new message whatever we want, right? So let's look into that. So let's pretty much copy the toast value, and let's say if I press on the place order button that is over here, let's initialize the on click event like this. Okay, we're just gonna say toast. So okay, so we're gonna say place order placed. Okay, order placed like this. And I think we need to include one more thing, that is this one, import react toastify dot dist, that line. So let's import at the top of our code over here. Okay, so let's save the file, and let's say if I press on the okay, toast is not defined. Why is that? Hasn't it been imported? Let's import it from react toastify like this. Okay, So yeah, now it's been imported. Save the file. Let's come back to our page. So yeah, let's say if I press on the place order button, yeah, so there you go, we can see the toast coming up. And yeah, so firstly, this is, I think, a basic info. We need to look into the success info. Okay, so for that reason, let's check out our document over here. So if you go over here to introduction, where we have different kinds of toast messages. Okay, so we'll be using firstly the top center. So the position should be from the top center part, and type is going to be success. Okay, and theme is going to be dark, or yeah, first let's check all of them and let's look into that afterwards. Okay, so firstly, let's pretty much copy this toast container like this, and we're going to paste it over here. That is basically this one. Let's remove that out and paste this value. Okay, so format once. And yeah, so since we have to perform many actions on the place order button, we need to clean the card, we need to display the toast message, and then we need to navigate to the next order screen. So for that reason, let me just initialize in a different way. Okay, so over here we are just gonna say place order like this, and we're gonna define this function right at the top over here. Okay, so we're gonna say const place order equals to, which pretty much gonna take in our item. And over here, so the first thing is we're gonna display the toast message. Okay, so let's do that. So we'll be making use of toast.success like this, and let's pretty much paste it over here. Okay, so over here we're gonna say order placed, just a random message like this, and save the file. Okay, so currently we are using the light theme, and let's check how exactly it looks. So place order, yeah, so you can see the light theme coming up with the tick mark button, and this is the success message. If you want, you can close the toastify message manually itself by the X button over here. Okay, so if not, automatically after, let's say, 5 seconds, it's going to close itself. So yeah, there you go. So let's choose basically the dark mode and look how it is looking. Okay, so copy this part, okay, and paste it instead of this value over here. So save the file, and now let's look at it. So place order, yeah, I think dark mode is looking good. Okay, so we're going to use the dark mode, and yeah, so instead of pop so easy, let's again paste a message which says order placed. Okay, okay, so save the file. So now what we do is, firstly, let's come over here. Yeah, so this is working absolutely fine. So the next thing is we need to initialize the next part, that is the next action inside our reducer. So that's basically our final action. So let's say clean cart. So over here, let's write that properly. So clean cart. Okay, so this is just going to take in a state, not action. Okay, so basically we're just going to say state dot cart equals to a empty array. Okay, so let's also export our value, that is clean cart, over here. Okay, so clean cart, and save the file. So now what we do is just 1 minute, let's come back to our where did that go, cart.js. Okay, so basically after providing the toast message over here. Okay, so after if I say going to the cart, after providing the toast message over here, the next thing we need to perform is basically we need to clean the cart, and then we need to navigate to the next page. Okay, so for that reason we'll be making use of a set timeout. Okay, and that's going to get executed after a specific amount of interval. Okay, let's say this is going to get executed after 3.5 seconds, that is 3500 milliseconds. And basically after that, we're going to say navigate to / orders. And for the orders, basically, so after this we need to push the orders, right? So we need to push the orders to the order screen. So for that reason over here, let's initialize our orders. So we're going to say const orders equals to, just press the cart value. Okay, so over here what we're going to do is, yeah, so after this is we're going to provide in the state. Okay, so basically we're going to provide in the orders. It's going to be the orders itself that we just initialized over here on line 23. Okay, so after this what we do is we basically clean the cart. So we're going to say set timeout, and over here we are going to run this timeout after, let's say, 4000 milliseconds, that is 4 seconds. And we're going to say dispatch basically clean cart. Okay, it's not taking any payload, so it's just going to be empty, and save the file. Okay, so let's go back to our web page. So currently we have, let's say, 2 items, and if I press on the play or on the place order button, first step is that it should show us the toast message. After the toast message, we should pretty much what do you say, so you should navigate to the next screen, and then after that we should actually dispatch this cart. Okay, dispatch clean cart action. So let's press on place order. So this has worked. So after 3.5 seconds, navigate to the next screen, and yeah, so in this screen will be pretty much what do you say, so display all the orders. Okay, so let's come back to our order screen over here, and firstly let's access the previous orders that we have. So it's going to be const location equals to use location. Okay, like this, and we're just going to say console.log location dot state. Okay, so that's the way we access our orders. So hopefully let's check out our order screen if we have access to the orders. Yeah, so there you go, we are able to see the object that is coming. So we have pretty much 2 orders. So let's pretty much design this part. Okay, so inside our order screen, let's come over here, and where did that go? Yeah, so let's pretty much give the class name to the dev container. Okay, so this is going to be a class name of orders. Okay, so let's come back to our CSS. Let's target orders like this, and we're going to give basically some internal spacing, that is padding of 20 pixels and a margin of 15 pixels. Okay, so over here we'll be having div tag. Okay, so this is going to have a h3 tag which says your orders. So your orders like this, and let's save the file. Yeah, so pretty much you can see that coming. So after that we have is basically let's do one thing. Let us start mapping out all the orders. Okay, over here just beneath the h3 tag, we're going to say location dot state dot orders dot map for each and every order from our array. We'll be returning a div tag just like this. Okay, and over here, so the first thing is another div tag which is going to contain basically the image. Okay, so over here we'll be accessing our image tag like this, and this is gonna have the source, and it's gonna be item.image. Okay, so let's give in the style for this. It's gonna have a width of 100 and a height of 100. Okay, is there any mistakes? Okay, for the style we need to use two brackets, right? So let's write that clearly and save the file. So it has to be order.image, not item.image. So order.image. Okay, yeah, so pretty much we can see all the items coming up inside our order page. Okay, so now what we do is we're gonna pretty much give some class name to this. So it's gonna be order container. So let's target our order container. Come back to our order screen over here and target that. We're going to give some margin top of 20 pixels. Okay, let's keep it 30 pixels. Let's give some more spacing. All right, so towards the right we have basically just the description and the name. Okay, so for the order container towards the right part, we're gonna give div. It's gonna contain, of course, two things, that is a p tag. So this is gonna be order dot title, and the next p tag is gonna contain order dot description. Okay, let us save the file. Yeah, so you can see both of them coming. So pretty much let us for the description part, let us just get the first 80 characters. So we're going to check if its length is greater than 80. Okay, in that case what we're going to render is, okay, if its length is greater than 80, then again the same mistake, if it's greater than 80, oh my god, then we are going to say order dot description dot substring method, and we'll be taking out the first 80 characters, else we'll just be showing the order dot description. Okay, like this, and save the file. Yeah, so you can see that working nice. So the next part is we have this thing. Okay, we're gonna say class name order description like this, and let us save the file, copy the order description value, and over here let's check this out. And what we'll be doing over here is we're just gonna say some margin left of 12 pixels, save the file, and let's give it in a row. That is basically for this div, that is the order container that we have. We're going to say display of flex, and yeah, save the file. Yeah, so you can see that coming. Okay, so let's just display the price over here, that is okay. So after our p tag, we'll be basically displaying our item dot what did I just import? Nothing, right? So it's going to be item dot price multiplied by item dot quantity, like this. Okay, item is not defined. Okay, it has to be food, I mean order, and again order over here, save the file. Yeah, so you can see that coming. So for all of the text, let's give some margin top. Okay, so over here let's give some internal styling. We're going to say margin top of 8. Okay, let's paste it all over here. Yeah, I think that's looking good. So next, towards this part, we'll be having a couple of buttons, that is for downloading the invoice part and also for the returning button basically. Okay, so yeah, let's get into that part. So basically inside our image, after the div, we'll be having another div that is for the buttons, like this, and we'll be having all of the buttons. Okay, so this is gonna be return product, we'll be having another button that is download invoice, and after that it's going to be rate products. Okay, so let's pretty much save our file. Yeah, so you have all of them in the correct direction. Okay, but there is some spacing problem. That's okay. I think we need to just give a margin left. All of them would go to the center part. Okay, so let's come back over here, and I think it's good to keep it in a column fashion. So over here let's give the class name. We're going to say basically order buttons, like this. Okay, copy the order buttons value over here, come to the CSS screen, and we're going to say a display of flex and a flex direction of a row, I mean not row, my bad, it should be column. Okay, yeah, so you can see that coming. So the next thing we are going to do is basically let's provide some margin left to this. Okay, so for all of the buttons where we have the order buttons, let's give a margin left of 100 pixels. Okay, or let's give a margin left of auto itself, right? So for that reason, let's go to the entire orders page, or yeah, I think order container is good because we have given it as flex. So we're going to give a margin left of auto. Okay, yeah, I think that's looking better. Okay, so for each of the buttons we're going to provide some styling. Okay, before that let's target the button, right? So over here we're going to say class name, these are going to be order button singular. Okay, so target the order button like this, and over here let's firstly see firstly let's give some margin top of 5 pixels to each one of them. Save the file. Okay, I think that's looking better. So the next thing we look into is basically uh, the outline outline of none like this, and we'll also be writing a border of none. Okay, so after that we have is basically a slight and subtle border radius that is of 5 pixels, and we're going to give a font size of 14 pixels and font weight of 500. Let's save the file, and yeah, so you can see all of it coming. So we'll be giving the main thing that is basically our background color. Okay, so let's copy the background color basically from the body.css. It's not there. Yeah, it should be there in a product. So basically copy this one, any one of those colors, and let's come back to our order screen.css and paste it over here. Okay, so let's save a file. Yeah, so now let us actually give some internal spacing. Of course, that is padding of 10 pixels. Okay, all right, I think that's looking better, but it's taking a lot of space compared to the product. Okay, so in that case let's just increase the width of the image, right? So let's go back to our auto screen, and for the image that we have, let's give it, let's say 140 and 140 over here. Okay, so it takes up most of the space, and even it is aligned correctly with our products, I mean with our buttons basically. So yeah, let's give it a, let's go back to auto screen, and for the button let's give a cursor of pointer, and after that we have is basically a color of white. So we're going to say color, and it's going to be white. Okay, save the file. Yeah, I think that's, I don't think white is looking good, so let's remove it and let's keep the default color, that is black. Okay, so save the file. Yeah, I think that's it about the order screen. We have rendered all of it basically. Okay, so these are the orders basically that is coming from the previous page by making use of the use navigate. So actually other than this thing, I mean other than the orders, we can actually even send one more type of data, that is basically the total price of it. So if you come back to our cart.js, okay, you can actually send the total price like this. Let's write that correctly. Total price is gonna be basically I don't think there is any total, so let's calculate the total price. We only have the total, so const total price equals to, this is going to be basically a total plus charges, right? It's going to be this value. Yeah, so over here total price is going to be total price. Where did that go? Yeah, over here. Let's just access total price like this. Okay, yeah. So along with orders, you can even send total price, and basically you can include the total price over here or over here itself for each particular order that we are doing. Okay. So firstly, yeah, for focusing on the front end part of it, we are good to go as we have completed even the order page as well. Okay. So I think that's it about this project. We have learned a lot of things, and it was a lot of fun as well because we built this project from scratch altogether from the starting point until here, and we constructed many different screens and even the components as well, and we learned about many new dependencies to include, and we also included our Redux part of it to the cart system, and we implemented on how to remove from cart and add to cart, as well as even the buttons for the increment quantity as well as the decrement quantity. So I think that's it about this e-commerce application. Okay, and yeah, hopefully that's it for this video. So let's see you in the next video, and then thank you for watching.